Why is a show about human struggle called Arcane? Okay, yes, the arcane as in the big magic blob is a really big part of the show, but what does magic have to do with grief, with classism, with love? I think it's because the pursuit of the arcane encapsulates everything that the show is about. The crux of this argument comes from a kind of blink and you miss it line from season 1. Arcane talents are something you're born with. They cannot be fabricated. In the context of this world, you either have the gift of magic or you will never have it. And that is one of the biggest struggles that these characters face. Not the inability to use magic, but rather the circumstance of every character's birth deeply affects them. Some characters have something that they weren't born with that they want. Others have things that they were born with that they want to leave behind. But everyone is trying to climb this ladder to move up in life. But the farther up the ladder they go, the more sacrifices they have to make, and we get to see what they're willing to do to rise above their lot in life. And through reaching for that next ring up, through reaching for the proverbial arcane, every character learns what the price of progress is, and how, despite it all, these characters can never escape the hand that they were dealt in life. They can only control how they play it. This message starts in the broad strokes, in the dynamic of our two cities, Piltover and Zaun. Zaun is a city that has been abused. It's people living in harsh conditions with less opportunities than their topside counterparts. What many in the city yearn for is the next ring up on the ladder, and that is Piltover. Not exactly to be a city like Piltover, but to have the things the topsiders have. Fresh air, lives not shortened by disease, and the goal to prosper, and most of all, freedom. Because despite being the same nation, the Undercity dwellers are treated significantly worse, and these worse conditions have held back the city's potential. A representation of this lost potential is Jinx and Echo. They've proven to be some of the smartest minds in Arcane, and they both separately understood how Hextech worked without any proper education. I would say, imagine how these two could have changed the world if they had the resources of someone from Piltover. But I don't have to imagine, because there's literally another universe where they canonically do that. Considering the fact that Haim was meeting with Echo in this alternate universe, and the fact that Zaun looks significantly better, I think it's safe to assume that they chose peace in this timeline, and all the children of the other city were given the same treatment as the topsiders. In this reality, these two would have made a brilliant device that would use zero energy, and we're not sure who idea it was, but Milo and Clagger also have their hand at making inventions that benefit the lives of the Undercity, saying that they need to make more hybrids to purify the air. It's pretty cool that they became some kind of botanist considering where they grew up, but the point is, clearly, when in a safe environment, these children could have flourished. Unfortunately, in our timeline, this is not the case. The environment that surrounds Echo and Jinx puts their intelligence towards more violent endeavors. Echo needs to stop the production of Shimmer, its rampant abuse ruining the lives of the Undercity, so he creates vehicles for travel and uses his mind for tactical strikes. Jinx, on the other hand, is pushed directly into bloodshed. She makes weapons because it's what she's told she's best at and needs to do. These two minds were lost to violent endeavors because of their environment, and that's such a shame. And if you think about it, these two characters have suffered because of Piltover, but this is also Silco's fault. Silco and the Cambarans are essentially the highest position of wealth a Zonite can be in without going to Piltover, but they are just another perpetrator in the cycle of abuse. Piltover has royally fucked over Zaun, and to escape this disease-ridden rot pit, Cambarans choose to flood the streets with even more affliction and disease so that they can have the gold to rise above it all. The price they pay for the freedom they weren't born with is the freedom of their fellow Zonites. And this is very interesting for Silco especially, because he is someone who fights to free the Undercity from Piltover's clutches, but in the pursuit of this, he has already become exactly like what the Topsiders are. Piltover, the City of Progress, pays for their advances with the blood of the Undercity. Piltover is generally content with letting the Undercity exist in the state that it's in, as long as the Undercity keeps providing them the resources they need to keep chugging along. They don't care. But that's literally the exact same Silco is doing, even if he's fighting for Zaun's freedom. He's actively making the Undercity worse by getting the population addicted to Shimmer. He's willing to sacrifice his countrymen for his progress, for his ultimate goal of a free nation. And just as you'll see in a moment, he's a person on a long list of people who sacrifice the present for the future. And that always goes wrong in this show when done this way. While we can't say Piltover were responsible for Silco's actions, they are responsible for how they treat the people of the inner city. They let them just exist in a less fortunate position, probably because it's easier for them to focus their resources on improving their own side of the city. But what are they trying to do? What is the point of improving Piltover? Objectively, nothing. It's already a gleaming city that, if the lore remains the same, has the quickest developing technology in all of Runeterra. But Arcane is about the human condition, and one of those is greed. The next step for Piltover is magic, because when you have the best tech, all you can really want to do next is defy nature. Thing is, in their pursuit of power, they would have hurt the Undercity even more. The Undercity has the gray because of the fumes from the mining fissures, which Piltover very much needs open, despite how much they hurt the people. And in the show, we see that if they kept using the Hex tech, the Arcane infection would have spread first to the Undercity. Piltover's greed would have once again affected the Undercity first. I think Jace in his arc best summarizes Piltover. He's someone who wasn't born in the elites of Piltover, but just like the city, he wants to get that next leg up. With the help of someone from the Undercity, he develops a great leap in technology and magic that allows the city to jump even further in the lead and become even more profitable. Even if his intentions were pure with Hextech, he gets swept up in how to grow it, in making progress on his invention that he forgets why he started this journey, and especially, he forgets his partner from the Undercity. Victor was dying, and Jace kinda knew, but Jace was still too caught up in trying to fix Hextech and its problems that he just doesn't end up helping Victor, and Jace only truly realizes how bad he messed up when tragedy strikes. And for spending all his time wrapped in the future, in progress, Jace has paid for his progress with the present, with being unable to spend time with a loved one, and eventually, he trades progress, he trades his Hex tech to get his partner back. Obviously, not exactly one-to-one because at no point does Piltover ever trade their progress for the Undercity, but maybe they will. More on that later. But to expand on this part more, I also think Victor is a very interesting part of this equation. As someone from the Undercity who was born with a limp, but has also received a terminal illness because of the Undercity's poisonous fissures, Victor knows how big the difference is between the two cities. And he knows that these things are things that could have been prevented or helped had he been born in Piltover. But he is someone that has experienced strife, and he wants to make sure no one else from the Undercity has to suffer. So when he discovers Jace and his Hex tech, he sees potential. It may not have started as a way to help people, but it eventually allowed him to do that. He is the person that is very vocally angry when Heim doesn't want to release the Hex cores in public. In retrospect, probably a good idea to further test Hex tech, because they may have discovered the Arcane threat sooner, but when you're a human with a limited lifespan, and Victor knows a lot about life being cut short because of the hand you're dealt, you want to help people now. But then Victor's sickness gets too serious, and he's forced to turn away from trying to make things to help people to help himself. Now, to me, this isn't anything like the Chem Barons' greed of putting themselves first. Victor's already made something that could help the people of the Undercity, and if Victor continues to stay alive, he could make more things. Not to mention that if he's able to cure himself, he'll be able to help a lot more people who are sick that reside in the Undercity. When he combines with the Hex core, Victor was healed and was able to do the things he set out to do. He was able to help more people. Of course, we know in retrospect that this changes him for the worse. And so we see that Victor traded his humanity, his kindness, the things that drove him to pursue science for the thing he was searching for, a cure for his life, for the ability to continue doing what he thought was the right thing. And he goes so far into being corrupted by the Hex core that he's willing to combine forces with Ambessa, cause violence, and hurt people he wanted to protect in order to achieve his final goal, which he perceived as perfection. Once again, someone trades the present for the future and learns that this was the wrong choice. The solution to Victor's problem is the same solution to the greed that has been rampant in Piltover, which is compassion. If the two sides both stop for a second to consider what they're doing, to consider that the actions that they were making are hurting other people and they're letting them dehumanize the other side, then maybe they would have stopped. We know that there's another universe where people forgave each other, and instead of greed, they chose peace, and we see how much that place is better. That's why I think Jace and Victor is so important to the story arc of Arcane. Yes, I'm a bit sad that they dropped a lot of the political elements of the show, but these two are a microcosm of the answer to the problem of Piltover and Zon, that we should see the other side, the human side of everyone. Despite everything they've done, we need to learn to forgive and love again. To go along with the theme of things you're born with, I think the family dynamics of the show are very interesting. For starters, the blood-related families are some of the messiest relationships in the show, but also the most motivated and loyal. First one I'd like to talk about is the Medardas. First, Ambessa is the link between our two current topics, love and the price of progress. Ambessa's goal has always been to protect her children, just the knowledge that one of Ambessa's kids were a mage put a target on their backs, and that led to Kino's death by the Black Rose. And it would have led to Mel's. Ambessa knows she needs a lot of strength to beat something as big as the Black Rose, and she almost had it. She had her mad scientist, her unkillable army, but if we look at the price Ambessa paid for her goals, it's the very things that she sought to protect. She lost her son, and in the end, she ended up hurting her daughter. But if you think about it, Ambessa might have gotten one of the better endings. One of her children is alive and has the ability to protect themselves from the Black Rose, and the threat has been beaten back. Mel struck a blow at them. Just the price paid for that was also Ambessa's life. To her, I'm sure that was a worthy trade. Singed might be the big winner of all this, but Ambessa, tragically, also got what she wanted. On the other hand, Mel's arc has always been about the burden of the Medarda name. In season 1, she doesn't feel adequate as Medarda, not as successful as her mother. She is burdened by the things that she is born with. And her arc is getting over that. She becomes a politician and makes moves to shape Piltover into a more successful place so that she can feel adequate to her family name. I do think it's a shame that her character kind of gets yeeted in season 2 in favor of her just being a mage. I feel like people would be mad that the cunning, deceiving politician part of her character was taken away. But let me just explain a bit. Her story is about overcoming her mother in every way. Mel keeps choosing peace, choosing the acts that lead to the least violence, and the best sees as fox behavior, not the wolf which she favors. But finally, when Mel is able to beat Ambessa, we see that she is both fox and wolf. She was able to beat every enemy in front of her while killing the least amount of people. While I think it would have been cooler if Mel didn't get magic or used less of it and used more of her brain power to outthink Ambessa, the fact that Mel's able to get everything she wants is pretty cool for her character. Mel beats Ambessa and uses Ambessa as a ruse to beat the Black Rose. So it's cool that we still get to see a bit of her plotting side. And while I do think this ending is very thematically fitting, I think Mel is also kind of one of the weak spots for the season, but that's neither here nor there for this essay. Anyway, on to other blood-related family feuds. Jinx and Vi are two sisters who have hurt each other deeply. Vi, being the older sister, was always there for Powder, but through tragedy, their relationship is ruined. Powder, in an attempt to save her family, instead ended up killing most of them, and this causes Vi to lash out to hit her sister and begin to walk away from her. But when she realized Powder was going to be taken by someone that was evil, she immediately turned and tried to save her. And this is probably the best way to summarize Vi's character. Throughout the show, Jinx always hurts Vi in some way, but Vi always finds it in herself to forgive Jinx and try to take care of her because Vi is the older sister and all she really wants is to protect her family. I originally thought Vi's ending was cut a bit short, that she didn't get that epic finale every other main character got, but I do think now that I'm not disappointed with how Vi's character turned out, because Vi is someone who cares about her family, and in the middle of the series, she loses that. She completely crashes out and just becomes a boxer and lives alone. She knows Jinx is out there but doesn't make any move to find her. She's been stung so deeply by all her attachment and she's just choosing to live by herself. But this is not who she is. Because Vi is a protector, but she's only a protector because she doesn't want to pay the price of progress. Vi is one of the characters in Arcane who, instead of looking forward towards progress, is stuck in the past. Vi is stuck in this moment, in the death of her parents, and never wanting to lose another family member ever again. So when she goes with Jinx to find Vander and fights for her and Isha, then later fights for Vander's life, it's a return to form from her character. And yeah, she doesn't really grow as a character this season, but I think that's very thematically fitting. It's trauma that holds these sisters back from becoming better people, but Vi hasn't received the love that she needs to move past that. Jinx has, because Jinx has Isha, so Jinx is able to see the world in a different manner. Vi's character not growing this season was done pretty okay, but what elevates it for me is the fact that it allows Jinx to complete her amazing character arc, because all of this is made possible by Jinx, who essentially becomes the older sister for this season. When Jinx finds out Vander is alive, she seeks out Vi, not because she needs her, just because she thinks after all the pain she's caused, Vi probably deserves this second chance at seeing her dad. Jinx in the second season also ends up being the better caretaker. We see that very obviously with Isha, but also Jinx finally being able to heal her inner child and being able to be the caretaker that Vi wasn't exactly to her. We also see that they've swapped roles this season. Jinx was the one searching for Vi, found her, and gave her a chance to fill the Vander-shaped hole in her heart. Also, towards the end of the season, Jinx becomes the one protecting Vi. Kate notes that after Isha's sacrifice, Jinx only made sure Vi was okay before turning herself in. In the final episode, it's Jinx that saves Vi from the Noxians, and then Jinx who saves Vi from Vander. And I think the scene with Vander is especially cool. Vi's whole personality has been that despite everything, she believes that she can save her family, and we know Vander is gone. Objectively, Vi should leave this wolf because how will they manage to carry him out without dying? But Vi doesn't move. She's convinced that she can do something, and it's this fault of her that means Jinx has to protect her. In this scene, Jinx saves Vi from herself, something Vi was never able to do for Jinx. Whenever Vi tried talking Jinx out of things in the first season, it would only make it worse. But here, Jinx is able to very easily save Vi from her worst tendencies. Jinx, despite being born the younger sister, is taking the protector role. After Echo talks her down, I'm sure a big reason Jinx even goes to the final fight is for Vi. Echo talks about making a better world for people they care about, and Jinx rides out to save Vi, so that after she leaves, the world is a better place for her. It's my personal belief that Jinx is alive, but either way, with this sacrifice, Jinx is taking a step away from Vi. By being dead or pretending she's dead, Jinx is allowing Vi to move on, to not have to chase her again, because she knows that's the kind of person Vi is. She's giving Vi all these opportunities to heal that Jinx probably wishes she got and probably wishes that Vi would have helped her have. Once again, the price of progress is a loved one, but it's not progress towards any power, but progress towards healing. Jinx is being the one to leave, and I think this is such a cool way to end her character. Going from the scared little girl who didn't want her sister to leave to being the protector and being the one who walks away for both their sakes in the end. This relationship was the one I was watching closest in Arcane because I thought what it was trying to say is that blood is thicker than water. That these sisters, despite all the fucked up shit they've done to each other, still choose to forgive. But no. Arcane is not how blood is thicker than water. It's just that love is very complicated, but you can still choose to love people. When you share blood, you will always have this bond that ties the other person no matter what you do. But just because you're related doesn't mean that that bond is a good one. It just means that even if you're worlds apart, you'll still be a part of each other. But Arcane is also saying that just because you don't share blood doesn't mean you can't have a bond just as strong as one that does. Vander chooses to give up his fight for the daughter of a friend he promised he'd build a better future for. Silco does the same, even when he was the closest anyone has ever been to finally getting the Undercity's independence. There's no blood, but there is still the choice of love. And love makes you do things you'd never expect. Love for the Undercity made them rebel, made them rise up in violence, but love for people made them give up this fight. And it's also that sometimes our actions end up hurting the people that we love. The fact that hurt people, and the way past the cycle of violence is to forgive. Kate and Vi were dealing with their own trauma. These are two people who shouldn't be together. Topside and Undercity, oil and water. They shouldn't mix. But they've both hurt each other. But this is once again Arcane showing us that the path to peace, the path to progress, is forgiveness. After seeing each other again, Caitlyn realizes that this attack is exactly what Jinx did to her. If they attack now, they take away Vi's father, and Caitlyn chooses to end the cycle, chooses to forgive. And with this forgiveness, we see that they're able to do something that they wouldn't have been able to do if they were apart. They're able to beat Ambessa at her game. But most importantly, we see that the price of progress doesn't need to be sacrificed. We see time and time again that love is what allows people to recenter themselves and realize who they are. Without Isha, Jinx would have definitely crashed out. But after raising someone, she realizes what she has to do for Vi and what she has to do for herself. And with this forgiveness, Jinx and Vi are able to save their father. After Echo sees another universe powder and sees the love that they have, he realizes that everything he's been running away from. He realizes what exactly about his city he wants to save, and he realizes that he still wants to save his Jinx. And when they work together, they're able to save the city that they were born in. Every character has been hurt and has hurt somebody that they loved in some way. But what Arcane is trying to say is that we are all born with the ability to love. It is human nature to care about somebody else, and that there will always be setbacks, but to make progress, we can't just hate and dehumanize the other people. Because the show shows us time and time again that when people choose forgiveness, things end up better. In the alternate universe, we see Silco and Vander reunite, and their future is brighter. And in the end, it's all these acts of kindness that allow them all to team up and defeat the force that threatens their homes. And in the very end, despite everything Victor has done, Jace chooses to forgive his partner, chooses to give the empathy he needs, and together, they're able to overcome the Arcane's corruption. Because the answer to everything has always been love. To talk more about the literal namesake of the show, I do think it representing what every character is or isn't born with is only a part of its meaning. In a microcosm, the Arcane, as in the magic entity, also tells Arcane the show's story. The Arcane is not evil. It's just another natural phenomenon that humans have pushed to its limit, and it just so happens to react in a way that hurts life. We don't blame coal and oil for spewing shit into the air and causing pollution. We blame the people that do it en masse. Same way we do not blame the Arcane for being used to teleport cargo across the globe and totally spreading its arcane whateverness into the Undercity. We blame the people who use it without knowing its side effects. Though, I do suppose good on Jace for stopping it when he realized there was a problem, but bad on Jace for putting it in the Undercity's backyard and making sure that if anything went wrong, they would be the first person to get hit. But yes, like the Undercity, the Arcane is just another thing that Piltover has abused to get ahead, and just like the Undercity, there will be consequences. Again, I don't think the Arcane is evil because the thing that corrupts Victor is the Hex Core, with all the runes that they placed on it. I believe the Hex Core was incomplete because it lacks a way to feel humanity. That's why the Hex Core became complete once Sky was absorbed into it. And Victor is able to stay human as long as Sky is there. But when she leaves, he goes full robot with no emotions and just drive. And this goes back to the theme of what people are born with. Because Glorious Evolution, Victor wants to use the Arcane to remove something all humans innately have, which is freedom. In Hexcore Victor's vision, the perfect future is one where humanity are robots, void of emotion, because when there's no emotions, there is no war, there is no greed. There are just entities working together for a greater purpose. But as Victor figures out at the end, what's the point of perfection if there's no one to experience it with? And so Victor finally sees the price of progress. The price of a perfect tomorrow is everything. It's humanity, it's love, it's ability to fuck up, and its ability to forgive. And that is not a price that should be paid. But Victor can only realize that because Chase gets through to him and gives him the love he needs to see the right path and find his humanity again. So basically, what is Arcane trying to say? The name is a one-word summary of the problem and the solution to this world, and heck, even our world's problems. When you reach for the arcane, when you try to put magic in the hands of people, you are defying nature, and defying the natural state of things will never end well. But with that said, the natural state of humans is, as bad as it is, the one we are in now. Because the natural state of humans is to have the ability to love. And with love comes all of the evil pitfalls. Like, for example, self-love, the abundance of it, is just greed. And these types of people, they'll use whatever means necessary to get ahead. And you might think that the solution to that is just to remove all of these facets from our being. And that would make the world perfect. But no. The real price of progress is our egos and our pride. We must set aside our differences and learn to love, learn to forgive. And the silly little thing about that is we have to have freedom to learn that lesson. We have to fuck up. And we have to do stupid, dumb, human shit. Learn that all we needed in the end was each other. And yeah, you could feel bad that they dropped the politics between Zon and Piltover in the show, but I think Arcane has done enough to show us how the turmoil between these two cities could end. For once, these two cities are united by a common emotion, which is grief. And Arcane shows that time and time again, the way forward is love. And through love, we can forgive. And through forgiveness, we can progress forward together. So basically, what I'm saying is, Arcane is the best show to ever execute the power of friendship. That's all I gotta say. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.